Let's talk about aging and how forked up our ideas are around it. This I've been thinking about a lot. And I want to show y'all what I have been doing to reframe my life entirely, including aging, community, and all kinds of things. Of all the things that I've been unpacking, patriarchy, white supremacy culture, inner capital, ableism, all the stuff that I've been indoctrinated with, another thing is ageism, you know? And the more it horrifies me the way we are so obsessed with age, because it all goes into like, you know, gotta look glad. You know, I did a whole video of like the stupid straw where you're like, because doing this is gonna cause like smiling too much, you know, making expressions is all about wrinkles. I hate that so much. But I want to talk about how our ideas around aging are making us so unhappy and also making our world like a much worse place. And so one of the things that I personally have been working on, and I encourage anyone who is interested in to work on, is our ideas, our like fatalistic, nihilistic, just self-destructive ideas around aging. And what made me think about this is a video I saw by Jane Fonda. If I could meet Jane Fonda in my lifetime / her lifetime, that is my goal. I want to meet that woman so bad. It is very hard not to put anyone on a pedestal. She's not perfect. She could be a terrible person. I don't know. But the stuff she's been through and the way she's has reframed so many things for me. The way she has talked about her own being a survivor. She's been surviving Hollywood. She has put her money and her time and her energy behind causes and into communities that need them because she has so much privilege and she's aware of that. But one of the things that she talked about recently was our ideas around aging. So first of all, one of my favorite shows ever is Grace and Frankie, because that is one of the best love stories I have ever seen in my life, and especially as somebody who has a soulmate, BFF, Liz. I talk about her all the time. She is like the love of my life. My husband is too. You don't get just one, but she is my soul. She's my Grace or Frankie, or which I don't know who's who, right? That relationship is, I would die for this woman. You know what I mean? And Grace and Frankie helped me realize why that is so important to have, like, that friendships should be centered. Doesn't mean you can't get married, doesn't mean you can't have romantic relationships, but friendships are what we should really be centering more than romantic love, because that is very isolating, right? And so that show reinforced this idea that life is not just over, you know? Like, those women are what? 80s, maybe even older? And her and Lily Tomlin are just like, they've got like Oscars, Emmys. I think Lily Tomlin has a Tony or so, I don't know. She's got almost all of them. And they are still out there having fun, living their life, and making the best use of their time. And one of the reasons why Jane talks about this, but they just love life. And they show that, like, it's not like just giving up and being like, it's over, right? Like that, and that's why this emphasis on looks and not being, wrinkles and just body, which is very violent towards our bodies. But especially in terms of aging is a privilege. It's a gift. So many people don't get to age. And yet we treat it as if it's this thing, right? And Therese, if you're not following her, please follow her. I'll tag her. Therese Lee, one of my mutuals and friends, talked about how she woke up recently and looked in the mirror and was getting ready, and she was like, I'm so pretty. And I was like, oh my God, I feel that. I feel prettier at 47. And she said this too. Then she did at 27. Same here. I feel so much more beautiful now at 47 than I did at 37, 27, 17, like at any age. Even though I, have more wrinkles and like my body is fighting, hypermobility issues more and all these things that, like, it doesn't mean that my body is just like necessarily is younger. Obviously, things have over time, stress, PTSD, CPTSD, blah, 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 and you know, whatever. But I love myself way more now than I ever have in my life. I'm proud of who I am, but also know that I'm keep wanting to learn and grow. You know, I'm proud of where I am, but I'm not like just gonna stop here. Although at the same time, I'm not like, it's not that I'm never satisfied thing, right? It's the like, it's the there's always room to grow and learn, and I can't wait for the next thing I get to learn, and but I'm also like very happy with where I'm at now too. You know, I appreciate the journey I've been on. And she talked about how in this video, how this like the senior moment, how there's how much ageism is built into the way we think. And how like even the senior moment, yeah, like, you know what, there's so many parts of my life that I don't remember, but also even when I was young, there were parts of my life that I didn't remember. And like she was just talking about how we just assume that we're all going to be in like, you know, a home or whatever. And then she reminded us the statistics that only 3% of people end up in a home. Or, you know, she just had like this video, and I'll put a link to it. I can't do that on TikTok anymore. I'll do it on YouTube. Oh, it was just what I needed. And what she said is basically the things, and especially right now, given the, you know, the political landscape we're in and all kinds of things, what is really important is to not just give up and be like, oh, whatever, and not only screw ourselves over, but screw over future generations, because we're like, well, what are you to do? You know? So that mentality, right? And part of that is with aging. It's like, well, what's the point? You know, I'm going to be like old. First of all, I always like to have people my own age in my life, people younger than me in my life, and people older than me in my life. I like to be in community with all of them. Younger people inspire me because I'm like, dang, you're so smart at that age. I wish that I was that confident. Like, younger people inspire me. They call me out for some of the stuff, like, you know, because it's progress. We're supposed to be learning and growing. So, you know, it was younger women who really helped me see how much I had to unpack around like my own like purity culture stuff, and help me, you know, become more, I hate, it's not schmeg's positive. It's more like getting into, like, letting go of these ideas around being like a slut and all that stuff. And they really, like, they inspired me and helped me get on that journey of centering my pleasure, letting go of shame around all that stuff and whatever. Like, there's a lot of things I've learned from younger people. That's just one of them, right? But I'm also like to be in community with people older than me, 10 years older than me, 20 years older. And I just made friends recently with these old ladies here in my neighborhood. And it's because I go out there, I throw myself out in the community, I talk to anybody. And I ended up just randomly talking to this lady, and she is, you know, immigrated here like 40 years ago from Albania, like when it was like under like a I don't know how many years, y'all, I'm gonna get the facts wrong. Basically it was under a kind of like a dictatorship, fled the country here with her husband, started all over, was a doctor, started all over with nothing. You know, in a new country, had to learn a new language. So I was like, oh, okay, you get it. You know, starting over a new language, whatever. Like, I have come from, I chose to come here. I wasn't fleeing. But like, she built a whole new life here. And her husband was very feminist and all this stuff. And now she's single, and she has all these, I mean, you know, she's a widow. Doesn't want to marry any man again. She dates one, but she will not live with him. Because she was like, I lucked out the first time. I'm not doing that again, though. I don't want, and most men are going to put too much labor on me. So she is living her best life with these other older women. Y'all, I have been going out and dancing with these women. One of them is in her 90s. These women have more energy than I do. And right after the election, I went out and hung out with these older women, and they were like, yay, you know, like some of these women were literally alive during the occupation of this town. They were here for that, right? They have been through so much. And their attitude, now I'm not saying all old people, some old people are just like bitter and whatever, but they are so happy and full of so much life and joy. And what brings them together is art. Art. They are in a rock dance club. We all went out dancing one afternoon when they had a band here in the town square. They meet each other and build their community through art. That can be dancing, singing, literal art. It can be all kinds of things, but it is community based and it's based on joy. And what I love about having relationships with older people, now again, there's some old people that I, wouldn't get along with. But these women, they are all, it's like I found my little Golden Girls Club and they want me to be a part of it. And I love that so much for me. Because also I taught her about weaponized incompetence, and she was like, oh, that's what it's called, and like, we like, and she's a little, she's like more in the middle. She doesn't like the communist part because, in France, it's like, you're okay. It's okay. There's communism part. There's a communist party. I live in a communist neighborhood, and she's not really into that because she fled a country that she's lived the, something that was, supposedly dealing with that, but it ended up being a dictator. And I'm like, yeah, but I come from the other side of the, like, hyper capital, and I'm like, I'm fleeing from that, so I'm pretty hard left. So like, we don't agree necessarily politically and everything, but our spirit, and we have healthy conversations around it. It's like we don't just avoid politics, but we have the same love of life, the same spirit. And every time I'm in like self-pity or like, oh, doom and gloom thinking, she sends me text. She sent me a text of a horse galloping through a field that said like, seize the day, or I love the day, or something. And it is so like random and cute and silly and funny. And I was like, oh my God, I've been waiting. She's like a surrogate grandma, but more like an aunt. You know what I mean? Sure. They're all going to die probably before the, climate crisis gets worse. And so like, yeah, maybe if I was their age up, but you know what I mean? It's like young people inspire me because they're fearless. Older people inspire me because they like, the ones that I'm in community with are like just committed to joy and making every moment count, but then also knowing their limits. So they like go and take a nap and then come back out and dance until 11 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? I mean, that's one reason why people like children go and visit retirement homes and, like, because children have so much life and it's like they give each other life, like I love having, nieces and a nephew because like this, they bring out the silly part. So the point is that I hate the way that capitalism and consumerism, and this is nothing new. It's been doing this all along. But right now, there's literally 20-year-olds on the internet doing things so that they don't smile too much or like look surprised, and they're drinking straws like this because they're so afraid. Thanks a lot, Kardashians. Thank you so much for that. There's some of these billionaires and, influencers who literally created this extreme version of it, but it's also like nothing new at the same time, but it's just a very intense. You got teenagers, and I did a video on this, teenagers using anti-wrinkling, anti-aging cream. Teenagers, right? So I want to push back against this narrative about being afraid of getting old. Because if anyone had told me that my 47-year self would love myself, my body, think I'm beautiful, I would have not stressed so much about turning 40, especially because those of you who've been through this or see it coming, so afraid to turn 40. Oh God, I got to get married before 40, have kids. I got married at 42. Did all this cool stuff before I even messed with dating. Didn't even start dating until my late 30s. I didn't want children. But still, I know plenty of women who lived that kind of life and then had children at late 30s or early 40s. This obsession with like your 20s and like being the only time that you can have fun, and even barely that because you got to be finding your partner. Screw all that. Screw all that. Like, as much as I'm afraid with the things that come with aging, like, having to deal with maybe, the impacts of aging, like just illnesses and, the body actually aging. My spirit, I hope nothing ages my spirit. One of the things I'm most proud of is that I am like, I feel at heart just as young as I ever did. I refuse to be a stick in the mud. I love my puppets and all the stupid crap. I love, you know what I mean? I have a childlike curiosity for the world. And I don't mean this in a like white woman infantilizing herself kind of way, because that's absolutely a thing. But like one of the things that people say on a regular basis is they love seeing the world through my eyes when I'm discovering something, because I'm really impressed all the time, because I like a child sometimes I'm like, wow. I remember when I lived in New York City, everything I was like, wow, I'm so curious. And I love that about myself, and I don't ever want to lose that because I'm aging. I don't want to be ashamed of that because I'm aging. And I remember going, I used to work in the film industry in New York, and we drive to New Jersey a lot. And I remember going through the tunnels being like, wow, how do they make this though? How do they make this? Oh, I wish I could like work on construction on a tunnel just for like 1 week, or like, like I can't do every job I've ever wanted to do, but like I kind of wish I could do every job. And I've done a lot of jobs. Some of y'all think I'm lying at how many crazy jobs I've done in my life. But it's because I have an insatiable curiosity. And I love that. I love that about myself. And you find that in children, and children kind of remind you to be curious about things, right? And so as much as I also like stepping into my wisdom and me being able to give and teach and mentor and all those things, I absolutely appreciate that part of myself, to give back. And you know what, I do know what I'm talking about, a lot of stuff. It's like it's about holding both at the same time, right? But this video that Jane Fonda talked about was how right now more than ever, people need community. How do you build community? And she's like, yeah, I know. If you don't already have community, we need community. We need to lean into community, especially anybody who's on the, like, I'm not dating for a while because especially like I'm so tired of being abused by men or just whatever. I need to work on myself. Community, but how do you build community? And I love this video that she did, because she says art. Now, I am very privileged that I am in a country that pours a lot of money into the arts. So I have so many options here. But at the same time, like, these exist in lots of places too, Like, for example, I know so many people who joined choirs. And I was like, a choir? Why would you do a choir? Because I used to be into like all about like climbing things. I've built community around physical activity. The only problem with that's great. Dancing is but like some of those things have not age limits, but like art is what every person can do in some capacity. You know what I mean? And art could be drawing, painting, singing, acting, dancing. Like art is creativity is boundless, right? And she was saying about how let me show you some statistics from this. So when she first started talking about building community, so this is where I saw it. It's CBS Sunday, whatever. I'll put a link anyway. And she's like, community. But but you're gonna say, well, how do you do that? There's a million ways to do it. There are a million ways. You can volunteer, you can do this, that. But to start with art, there's the health benefits of being in an art class. National Endowments for the Arts found that art classes, especially for older adults, increase mental engagement, increase physical activity, and they found new or stronger relationships. They visit the doctor less often. They're less likely to fall. She then talked about also this reframing that our life is over. Like, it's not. She said, she gave examples of people doing unbelievable things late in life. The first Black woman to reach the North Pole was this woman. Oh no, her name is not on this caption. I was going, poof, poof, poof. 75 years old doing this on the North Pole. Like, I would assume I'm too old to do that, and I'm 47. You know what I mean? Also pointed out that we stopped caring so much about what people think. We have more courage with age. We love ourselves more. We talked about the happiness curve, about younger in life, like children and like seniors are like the happiest people. And a part of that is because children, like small children, they don't care as much about what they just like, you know what I mean? They're not overthinking it. And then people who are like later in life are like, I'm too old to care about this crap, right? So I wanted to give some examples of like just the arts alone. Like, I've been working really hard on community building because it's really hard to make friends in general for everybody. It's really hard to make friends when you're 30s, 40s, 50s, and maybe above, because not in school, like it's just maybe you have to like work harder at it. And then especially during those ages when people are like deep into parenting, very hard to make friends around that. Even if you're not a parent, everyone you know is a parent. So when I first moved to France, I literally couldn't speak any French. And I met this woman. It was really cool and whatever. One thing led to another. And then I was like, she told me about her drum club. So I joined a drum club. I I don't know how to read music. I have never played a drum a day in my life. And it turns out, this is my first drum. Turns out I'm actually pretty good at it. Partly, I think even especially because I couldn't speak French at all yet. I was just kind of having to intuitively figure it out rather than overthinking. And I'm not saying I'm amazing at it, but like apparently I didn't even know that music was a big part of my life until I took drums. And then Anthony, my husband, for those of you who new here, he's been a musician for a while. He plays guitar. He loves music. And he's the one who pointed out, he's like, don't you think that like you are doing music when you write? I mean, now I don't write as much. That's what I'm like known for, as being a writer mostly at first. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. When I'm editing, I'm like, I'll take out a word because it's notes, it's beats, I had no idea that I was just like, when I'm writing, I had no idea, and drums connected me to that, and it made my writing better too. But I had no idea. I just was like, I can't read music. I don't understand. No, I just tried something new. This big old drum, right? So I meet all these people through this drum club, and I also tap into something that gives me an outlet. It's meditative, because I'm not like, I can't think about other things too much. I can try, and every time I do, I mess up. So it's like I have to be in the moment. And climbing used to do that for me. That's what I loved about climbing. I had to be in the moment. But drums gives me a way to like be in my body, like in a meditative state, experiencing joy, community building, because we're all just doing this together, right? And also a place to get a lot of my frustration out, you know? I ended up going to all this cool stuff with this drum club. I met so many friends through this drum club. One of my best friends right now, very best friends in Lyon, I met through someone that I met in the drum club. So like this, I was at this farmhouse with my drum club. Look at this. Like, I have no idea what's happening here, you know, because I arrived there, I didn't know. I'm pretty sure she's not American, but there's drumming groups from all over who met at a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. I don't know how I even got invited to this other than my drum club. I mean, clearly my drum club was not just drums. It was like saxophones, everything. They also had gourmet food, like what? They also had house parties, like passing people, like the craziest house parties I've ever been to in my life. Because the drum club, they're like, you want to come? You know what I mean, y'all? Like this house party had a whole room where they had handmade games. This is a handmade whack-a-mole. Like, what? That's so cool. Look at that. So then the pandemic started, and our drum club ended for a while. That one actually kind of dissolved into, everyone kind of went different ways, and like 2 years later. So then I joined a new drum club and took up a new drum because I had a drummer's elbow from that big old drum. So now these, like, you know, and I love this drum. We performed at Fête de la Musique here, like 60 of us. Fête de la Musique is the one day in a year in France where this plays music everywhere. I've already shared this over on my Patreon, and I've talked a little bit about in videos how I had to like face all my fears because I just felt so stupid and just whatever. My insecurities around my language made me just feel really intimidated going into a whole new group where I didn't know anybody, but I stuck it out. And then, you know, I was so proud of myself. I even got like, I was put in the front. I don't understand music. But I kept going, and I kept trusting my intuition, and I kept just showing up, and I love this club so much. And this is part of our performance. Y'all, I bounced the entire time because I have I can't stand more than 20 minutes, so I just bounce, you know? Am I best friends with everybody in drum club? No. Do I even hang out with them all the time outside of drum club? No. But every Monday, I go all the way up to the top of the hill. You know, it takes me a half hour to get there. And I drum with a bunch of people I don't know. And I'm like probably there's people way younger than me in the group, and there's a lot of people older than me. There are people in their like 70s, bang, 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 bang. And then sometimes we go out and get, food or drink afterwards. And I love my drum club. We bond over music, but then it's a foundation for other relationships. And I swear to God, so many times I didn't want to go because I have to work. I always have to work, like being a freelancer and also like trying to feed the algorithm, make a living. Doing this stuff is very hard because you have to work. You have to hustle constantly. And the first thing that I want to give up is drum club whenever I'm overwhelmed. And worried about money, and what I'm gonna make. But I've learned by now that's the one thing, that's the joy, that's the break, that's the community building that I have to show up to. And who would have thought something as simple as just showing up at drums for 2 hours every Monday would make me feel a part of life, a part of this community, make me feel like, I don't know, if everything goes to shit really quickly because of, dictators and fascism and stuff. I've been sewing the social fabric of community building. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Same thing. And me and Anthony joined a choir. We're in a gospel choir, and it is amazing. I love it. I had never thought I would ever want to be in a choir. I was in choir in church because I had to be. And then I get kicked off of choir tour for like smoking. And they sent a whole van load of us home with a nada people. And so then I didn't have to go to church anymore. So I associated choir with church, but I associated church with like, and like, did not associate church with good things. I'll put it that way. And now that I don't associate choir with church, but rather spirituality and community building and joy and expression and a deep, rich history and and also it's like throat yoga, like, and now like me and Anthony go and hang out with our choir after every Friday, and we met up, and on my birthday we did like an 8-hour workshop of choir. I'm like, I can't do choir. I talk for a living all day. I'm too tired. It actually is giving me a stronger voice. But more than anything, I feel so much joy singing with a bunch of people I've never met. Well, I've met now, but like, we are bonding over art, doing art together, creativity and joy. So, when I see, I'm so glad that I became friends with this Albanian French woman. She has introduced me to so many people in the neighborhood. People are like, hey, she comes and sees Anthony at his workplace, because he works in like a public place, and she'll come and be like, hey, Anthony, like, this one friendship with this older woman has really put me into a much more humble, like, oh my God, I need to get out of my self-pity, out of my way, out of my like, this learned helplessness, especially because, as a white woman, like, I'm an action person, but I can fall into the learned helplessness really quickly. And having people that I'm in community with who remind me that is not an option. I love it. I love it. So I don't know. I'd like to do videos every once in a while that are full of joy and hope, or not, there's there's depressing subjects, but give like, I don't know, just share stuff I've learned. Maybe you can find, there's so many ways to connect to other people through creativity, even if you've never sang, never played drums, never thought you'd want to be in a choir. I don't know. It's fun to try stuff. I had no idea how important music was to me, because I've just denied that part of my life for some reason, because I can't read music. Oh, well, guess I'll just never play an instrument, even though people know me as the person who just beats. I've been doing this my whole life. And everybody like knows me for that. And yet I'm like, I don't know. I don't play drums. I don't play drums. But apparently the drums are playing me. Anyway, right, Mose? If you like this, let me know. Please join my Patreon if you want to help support artists, especially if you like my work. Connect with other people, build your community through art and creativity, especially if you don't know where else to start. I highly recommend it. Anyway, et voila! Welcome to the comment song, Young Melanie edition of Disney. Look at that child who wasn't afraid to hurt Minnie Mouse's feelings. I need that energy now because I used to be afraid of hurting people's feelings who touched me. But look at me with Chip or Dale or whatever want to look at me, just leaning dramatically. I'm not impressed by you. So anyway, I think maybe I'm more of a child now in terms of being more curious. Man, I don't know what was happening anyway. I guess was always a little dramatic anyway. And then I used to wear jams. Yeah, jams. If you're not a Gen X, there's this time when a lot of us wore these crazy, stupid patterns, jams. I don't know why they're called that anyway. I embraced it. That and Snoopy snow cone machine. If you're Gen X, maybe you had this. They were pretty nasty. I mean, honestly, I could have just eaten snow with some food coloring. It was a lot of work for a snow cone. Anyway, comment song, Gen X edition. Anyway, hope you like this. Let me know if you heard the Snoopy comment song.